Live. We're live. How does it get any better than that?
How does it? How does it get even better than that?
So
Hello,
welcome.
world.
Hello and welcome to our conversation on being with Rachelsilber and Helen Gitlevich.
Yeah, and a different decor behind you. You're in Dallas for a body class.
Yay, body class and creating abundance with ease introductory class.
Awesome.
I'm doing it tonight. And it's open online and live here. So whoever is alive, welcome to come.
Yeah, well, everybody's welcome.
Everybody's, including people who are dead too.
Including people who are dead. We're having a physical body. Might make it a little bit easier to create abundance.
Or not. Actually, when you don't have a body, it's easier to move around. Ghosts don't have the limitations of getting on the planes and wearing masks.
Or automobiles or anything else. Yes, true. And there's no point to put a mask on. They're actually, wow, thank you for bringing that up, because I just got, when you're without a body, you're without your specific culture, you're without your specific identity, you're without the specific mask that you've been putting on and that you've been wearing and that you've been pretending to be during this experience of life and living, right? How you show up in a particular culture in a particular way. You're maskless, not only forced to wear this kind of mask, but you're not forced to wear any mask, and you're truly
and no matter, even if the mask is beautiful, it's still a mask. I just got myself silk chiffon masks.
Oh, cool.
That looks like a scarf. Oh, Dana, are you busy right now?
What?
Can I have my mask? It's in my purse.
Yes.
I'm going to wear my mask, kind of like to show that we can be in mask and without the mask.
There you go.
And how about that?
Oh, that's funny. That could serve as a mask and a bib.
Yeah.
You're eating spaghetti and it goes everywhere. Wow.
So
that's funny.
It is. And it's kind of like nice looking, but do we want to wear those things?
I don't personally.
Me
I'm not
neither.
a fan. Listen, I mean, when I go out in public and whatever, there's certain
Restrictions.
things that make other people, or for respect of other people around us, if you're going on an airplane, whatever. I get that. I won't just scream and shout and say, no, I'm not going to wear that. I get that. The thing is that we confuse between ourselves and the mask, and we begin to be that mask rather than recognize that we have a choice in every moment, and we can actually tune in and listen to what we know.
Yeah. So what else is possible now? And especially like you started talking about going beyond the culture, taking the mask of the culture. Because I know with me being Russian, being American, being Jewish, all those
being blonde, being mom, being doctor.
Right. All those definitions, all those labels, they are all limitations.
Yeah.
And the way to control ourselves or being controlled by others.
So this is actually something really, really interesting. I'm also I refer to myself as a mixed mutt, or maybe a mermaid. I didn't know how else to refer myself as a child when somebody would ask me, well, what are you or who are you? I truly had no clue. Like, I didn't fit into any of the slots that anyone had kind of lined up for me. It was easy enough when I was born in Israel. And so that was super easy. I was Israeli. I was, Jewish and raised in Israel and whatnot. And I fit the profile really well. But my parents were like softer kinds of Israelis, if that makes sense, maybe than most most others that I knew. And that's okay too. I mean, whatever, everybody's different. But they were never the kinds of people, my parents anyway, to go and look for more of the same. Like they didn't look for a group of Israelis when they moved to Texas. They didn't look, I mean, sure, we would go to synagogue and yes, they'd meet Israelis and whatnot, but there wasn't this, we stick in our group. They were willing to, they were most actually, my parents, more than anything else, identify themselves as workaholics. You know, they created a business, and that's what they do all the time.
And that's any culture.
In
Workaholics is from any culture.
Exactly.
Is workaholic.
But the thing is that they spend most of their life and living trying to conform or fit into certain boxes, other than we work. And that was pretty much, you know, what they did. So I grew up, you know, going to an American elementary school and middle school and high school and university and whatnot. And I never hung out with Israelis and my Hebrew is basic, to say the least, kind of, you know, stopped developing when I was 10. And so if I'd like to improve my Hebrew, I listen to other facilitators in Hebrew, go, oh, you could use those words. Very interesting. And I love that, right? But I don't pigeonhole myself. Like I didn't fit in the States. I wasn't American and I wasn't Israeli. And so I would refer to myself, I'm somewhere in the middle. Well, where's in the middle? The ocean. So must be a mermaid because I don't fit here and I don't fit there. And you know, we lived in Guatemala. Don't fit the profile here either. There is no profile that I could fit into. And that's fascinating because there isn't one culture, perhaps my religion, but I'm not like
but again, it's like
fanatic of that either.
But does that actually defines you? Because when we are talking about being you, this is a conversation on being.
Right.
When you're being, does it actually matter if you're Jewish, Russian, Korean, Japanese,
Indian,
Chinese, if you're religious Jew or if you're Catholic or if you're like Hindu, it doesn't matter. You're just being. Like your being is still just being with no borders, boundaries, masks, or anything.
One of the things that I most love are the pictures of planet Earth from space. And when you look at the pictures of this incredible, glorious, amazing blue and green and white, phenomenal planet, you don't see borders. You don't see, you know, oh, you can't move from here to here. You don't see, you know, barricades. You don't see anything like that. It's just this beautiful whole. And that's, to me, the gift of being you is the willingness to be the wholeness of you and the wholeness of expression, the wholeness of everything that you can be. And it's also fascinating for me, and based on personal experience, how much the rest of the world would like to pull us out of the wholeness of being and begin to create lines and demarcations and obstacles and separations.
Yep. And this is all artificial. It's all kind of like more. It's
those are programs. Those are like programs.
Yeah. It's programs, algorithms, it's everything that we are thinking about. It's like it is definitions.
Yeah.
Nothing more. But those definitions don't define us. It's something we do more so than be.
Like the mask that you can put on for the flight so that you can fly, or that you can go out to a restaurant in public. But that mask is not who you be. It's what you're
even
using
the clothes.
at that moment in time.
even the clothes you put on, it's not what you be.
Yeah.
And we were talking today, like I'm having a body class in Miami next weekend. Well, this weekend it's in Dallas, next weekend it's in Miami. And we were talking the difference between being and doing. With being, because a lot of people think of being doing nothing.
Yeah, no.
Being is actually, you can accomplish much more because there is no pressure, there is no definition, there is no have to. You just be.
There's no resistance, I find.
Yeah.
There is no, like, the fight, the wind of the fight comes out of your sails. When you're being you, you just know what's true for you. You know what works for you. You know what your next step is. And it doesn't matter how many people bark up the tree of you have to do this and this and this. You look at it and go, does this work for me? What would I like to choose? What would create greater here? And I love the gift of questions that we've both received from Access Consciousness, because that's where you really tap into what do I know and what's true for me here.
Yeah. Because that's actually taking the mask off. The mask of culture, religion, mask of the color. Because color does not define you. Black, white, yellow, red doesn't matter. We are all infinite beings. And we can choose.
It's really funny to me, I mentioned this, maybe we mentioned it the last time we spoke, I can't remember where I mentioned it. But to me, one of the greatest equalizers has been like waiting in line at school or waiting, for the kids at school. And there's a whole bunch of parents there. There's something, doesn't matter, whether they're the Korean parents or the Indian parents, the American parents, the Guatemalan parents or whatever. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. We're all so excited to see our kids, participating in something, or we're so frustrated at something that's going on, maybe educationally or whatever for the kids. We're all in the same boat, this boat called life and living. And when we can see that there's this commonality, that there's this, like, we're all beings, experiencing, choosing, playing, exploring here on the planet. We can appreciate the beauty and the gift that everyone is, the miracle that everyone is, the uniqueness that everyone is. And it isn't, oh no, I don't talk to people like that. There is no exclusion.
There is no exclusion. And what else can we create based on no exclusion, no separation, and no judgment?
We could bark, she says.
Yeah. And what if the world was a place where there is no separation?
Yeah. So my daughter painted a dandelion on my face this morning.
Oh, I love it.
I had a full-on day.
Yeah, like it.
Yeah, that's why there's a line. It's not really a scar. It's my little dandelion. I had a full-on day yesterday in multiple ways. Hello, darling. And hello. And so my daughter said, would you like me to paint your face? Because it's just so cheery. And I said, she wanted to do like blood and gore and all her favorite kind of face makeup. I said, no. What would you like, Mom? Well, I'd like sparkles and I'd like a dandelion. And so she did. She did that. A little bit of kicking and screaming because gore is so much more fun. But
especially it might reflect some of the mood that you were in yesterday.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. In including everything, we all have our moods, you know, our up days, our down days, our things that go on. And we have these tools to be able to move us through, to be able to use as like lifesavers, you know, thank you. Yay. I get a new credit card. I'm so excited.
What is that?
I got a new credit card. Somebody,
Oh.
we had to cancel our credit card because somebody decided to charge on it in some other country. Somebody hacked into our account and decided to play with it. So UPS just delivered new credit cards. Very excited, very excited.
Yep.
As I'm going to quote Borat here. I'm very excited. Sorry, I just love Borat. But that's the interesting experience for me, like with the dandelion. She asked me, why do you keep liking dandelions? I've loved dandelions pre-access. I've loved dandelions as a kid, blowing the seedlings everywhere. I told a story when I was, in my teens, when I was at university. I remember writing a little story about the comings about of the dandelions. I've loved dandelions. They have no point of view about where they blow. They don't care when you blow if they land in a pile of poo or if they land in a beautiful field. They're just happy to flutter through and to just go everywhere and to be a gift wherever it is that they go. And I love that. That's why I asked for the dandelion.
Yeah, except that in a lot of neighborhoods, they're considered weeds and they destroy them and kill them. And it's just like with people, like the different cultures. Dandelion would like to thrive, but then somebody else comes in and kills it or puts them somewhere else just because they're dandelions, not the specific brand of grass that they're supposed
Rose or
to
grass
have
or
in the
whatever.
lawn, that grass or whatever it was, or the flowers that they're supposed to grow. It's all in the point of view.
Yeah.
In the
It's all in the
definitions
point
and
of view,
masks
and
that we put on.
yeah. And did you know that, just as an aside, just because, ADD brain over here, did you know that dandelions are actually full of healthful benefits? Like you can eat the leaves in a soup, in a salad.
Yeah, you can eat it.
Enjoy the roots.
And I'm going to say, hold that thought because I need to charge it. My
The
computer.
infamous charger. That's really funny. So I love that. It got disconnected. I was going to say, I love that. I love that, that in being, there isn't this mask of perfection that you have to hold on to. There isn't a have to of, things must look a perfect way. Sure, there are things that we may like to be one way versus another, or whatever, but you don't stop being if your life is not a perfectly orchestrated, perfectly prim, perfectly proper kind of affair. Life is a contact sport, or life is a dance. Sometimes we step on one another's toes. Sometimes we bruise. Sometimes we just have a great time. The thing is, it's our choice when we're willing to be in it, when we're willing to play, when we're willing to enjoy the experience and allow ourselves to enjoy the experience. It is brilliant what can show up. So there is a beauty in being. There is an ease and a relaxation in being that we don't generally find.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was just speaking about how life is a contact sport and it never shows up the way we think it does. And the thing is if I were doing things right, there would be this, surely this could not be happening. The lighting has to be perfect. The makeup has to, why would I be doing live with this kind of, life would be more set up versus life is an experience to be lived, to be chosen, to be enjoyed, to be eased and oozed in if we're willing. It's very difficult to ease and ooze and relax when you're wearing a mask full time. There's no relaxation and ease in it. But
Yeah, and it's hard to breathe. It's actually very hard to breathe because it's almost like suffocating. Not almost, it is suffocating. Like I had to wear the mask on a plane, in the airport, and it was about okay 2 hour, like about 3 hour flight, plus another hour and a half in the airport, so 4.5, plus another 20, like 15 minutes to get out. So we're talking about 5 hours with the mask on without taking it off, except for like a few sips of water and a few bites to eat. Because
Which is so funny to me, because even when you go to restaurants, etc., and they make you wear the mask as you go into the restaurant, but if you want to eat your food, the mask has to come off.
yeah, there is no way to cover your mouth and eat through the mask.
And the virus, if that's what they think it is, doesn't care whether you're eating or drinking or flying or dancing or, walking far from one another. It's just there at all times.
And
Or
the
not.
funniest thing is social distancing. You're supposed to hold 6 feet between the people. But when you're sitting in the airport, the seats are next to each other. When you're sitting on the plane, the seats are next to each other, and the flight was full. So it's kind of interesting. But the funniest thing, I did have
It
the
shows
fever.
you how arbitrary everything is. The rules and regulations are arbitrarily set by some people who've come to some agreement about how something has to be. And
Yeah, like that
if
martial law, the curfew that people supposed to observe because of the virus. Like
Yep.
the virus distinguishes between 8 o'clock in the evening and 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's very strange to me. Or people who define, well, on a personal note, although I'm not going to dive into that, but who define who you are based on, the country you happen to have been born in, but not really raised in. It's fascinating to me how people will say, well, this is the law and this is the way it has to be done. Somebody got together with somebody else and said, let's make this law together. And they came to an agreement. And that agreement is now being defended and upheld by other people who have nothing to do with that.
Remember the definition of reality? When two or more people agree upon. So the governments create their own realities.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to live in that. What if we can start creating our own realities?
Well, what if actually, I'm excited now, what if we live in multiple realities all together, all at the same time? We are actually kind of fluidizing, melting, flowing through different kinds of realities based on our choices and based on our knowing, our being, our willingness to choose what works for us. So what if we'd actually honor and respect that and allow that and explore that rather than try to shut that off and only be in one type of dictated reality?
Yeah, and what if we actually choose our own reality instead of following somebody else's reality? And it doesn't mean that we don't follow some rules or all the rules, but what if we start melting those rules and create something different with that?
I love that.
So, and I'd love the clearing statement. So everything that doesn't allow that, let's destroy and uncreate all of that. Right and wrong, good and bad, back and pot, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And you can learn, like if you're new to Access or if you've never heard the clearing statement, it's pretty much a vibrational frequency that clears all the lies, all the points of view that don't work anymore. And you can learn more right there. Go to theclearingstatement.com.
I
Right
love
there.
statement. I love the clearing statement. To me, it's a vibrational frequency, a magic wand, a cosmic toilet where you can flush the shit that don't work for you anymore, whatever way you want to describe it. But the thing is, it can create a change. And I had a conversation.
And if you don't know it, POC and POD, point of creation, point of destruction, will work too.
POC and POD, POC and POD, POC and POD. Trust me, you will never forget it again.
Or the ninjas of consciousness, POC and POD, POC and POD, POC and POD.
Yep, they can open up a wee space where you can begin to change any and everything. I was having a conversation with my parents yesterday, based on rules and regulations of countries where people happen to be born. And it was fascinating to me because my father said, well, it is the way it is and you can't change it. And
wow.
I said, yeah, so everything that brings up, and anywhere you may have heard that growing up.
Do you mind saying it 3 times or 4 times?
Sure, it is what it is and you can't change it. It is what it is and you can't change it. It is what it is and you can't change it.
And all the Shiki implants, all the secret agendas, and all the archetypes and myths associated with that. Let's destroy and uncreate that.
Totally.
Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, takpat, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond.
Oh wow, that's so much fun. But I told my dad, anything that was great that's been invented in the world, anything that's been created, anything that's different that's come to be in the world came because someone said, you know what, the status quo no longer works. Or just simply, what else is available here? What else could I choose? What else could I? And I gave him the example. My dad likes examples. I gave him the example of Thomas Edison, who created the light bulb, even though it took him thousands and thousands of tries. But he said, yeah, sure, we could keep lighting with candles and kerosene lamps and, gas lights and all of that. Or, I don't know, might be interesting. Let's check it out. Not that I was a fan of Edison, but I'm certainly grateful for electricity and for light bulbs and all of that. The electrocuting elephants was not really my cup of tea, but the willingness of an inventor, of a creator, of a possibility, or to look for what else is possible here, is very different than, when someone believes that this is what it is. We're born, we die, we become worm food, or this is the way it works. And you just have to bow your head down and just live with that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. But if somebody doesn't speak, if somebody doesn't choose something different, if somebody isn't willing to say what it is that they know, be the leaders that they are in their life, what else can show up?
Yeah. What can we actually create in our life if we be ourselves with no point of view?
That we know something different is possible.
Yeah. Instead of just relying on whatever it was before, like creating the future from the past. Yeah, we did it this way.
In caves.
Yeah. Maybe not even in the caves, because somebody had to find the cave. We might have lived it on the trees.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And if you don't believe me, watch Croods. I love cartoons. And in Croods, you see a perfect example of this is the way it is. And we must fear change. And we must stay in our caves. And we must only hold on to whatever the past has been up to now. This is the story. This is what gets repeated. This is the only way things can be. Or you get the guy that comes, with a torch, with a fire, with, wow, what else is available? What else is possible? And he actually lived outside the caves. Was more of an explorer. Things can be different if we're willing to know that we know and trust that we could choose something different.
Exactly. And I'm so grateful for those conversations that we are having right now, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I think next Tuesday we are doing an interview.
Yes, we have 2 yummy interviews next week. I am looking forward to them.
Me too.
with more Being You certified facilitators. So how does it get even better than that? I love to know what it is that other people know. How is it that they see the world? And that willingness to listen to other people and to see, what is it that you know? What is it that you see? What is it that makes the way that you look at the world different? Widens our worldview, widens our perspective, widens our ability to see other possibilities. So,
and what else is possible in the world when we be instead of do the separations?
Instead of being doo-doo heads.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
How does it get even better than that? It is my pleasure.
And thanks everyone who is watching it now or later. Doesn't matter.
Yep. And got any questions, got anything, reach out and touch someone. We've had some amazing explorations with lots of different facilitators. You can find more on the Being You page, on the Being You Without Hiding group, on the Access Consciousness website. There are so many tools and books and classes and facilitators that can light up a sparkle in your world, can spread some seeds of possibilities, and can show you that you're never alone. And this is an amazing world to be able to play and live in. So,
and you can find Rachel and me also. We have websites, Facebook, Instagram accounts.
There you go. I put the little link trees on the bottom, and you're welcome to find us there or hop onto the Access Consciousness website, and you can find all sorts of goodies there, including different specialties that may be fun for you to explore.
So and we'll see you next week.
And we'll see you next week. Yep. Bye, Helen. Have fun touching bodies.
Yes.
Probably getting better. Bye.